Come get your money. Paylake carp fishing with Donald Barrow. Hello, this is Donald Barrow. Wicketed flavorings and pig flippers pickups. Good people. Uh, I fish for them and I hope you use their products. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm throwing that in because I always forget. Uh, I hope this is a popular video. This is one I've been holding back to the right time, and right now I'm making millet today. And millet is some lakes it's controversial. There's a few lakes, not a lot. Creekside being probably the most notable that it's not allowed. Uh, Joe feels uh, it's well scientifically it's no benefit to the fish. It kind of goes right through them. So uh, you know I can respect that, but if I can use millet on a pond in the summer, it is it's been amazing. It's kind of it works and it doesn't work bait for me. It will work in the summer when it's doing the job. Uh, it's breaking, and you get fish on it. They don't want much else. They'll eat the millet. It breaks amazingly. I can make this millet. Well, the pros. I talked about the cons. Some lakes don't allow you to throw it because they don't like that the fish don't get anything from it. It's basically, yeah, eating a seed, a bird seed. Um, I should start by I buy my millet at a feed store. Most of the ponds where it's legal uh, have it. Today I'm using 5 cups. I weighed it. It's pretty close to just a shy over 2 pounds. 2 pounds of millet. It looks like birdseed. You know, I know. No, the camera won't go that close, I don't think. But if it does, there's what millet looks like. I'll get this out of the way. The second ingredient we're going to use is wheat bran. I buy wheat bran in bags like this at the local feed store. Uh, it's it's cheap. I use wheat bran in this recipe, and this recipe will be a Karo syrup recipe, so it'll be a forever type bait. And I know it's a forever type bait because well, maybe not forever, but I left a half a bucket in my garage over the winter time. I don't use millet in the winter time. And last weekend, it was a tough weekend, but I know there's some guys throwing millet. So I had grabbed that bucket and it threw fine. Um, right now, it's about the time that millet starts. So I'm making up a fresh batch. Uh, like I said, this is 5 cups, about 2.25 pounds. And I'll grab the 2 other ingredients. The other ingredient is 3 cups of that wheat bran. I know in a video I said some people buy wheat germ. To be honest, uh, there is a difference. I had to look it up on Google and Google it, but so I'm not sure. Uh, in North Carolina, they sell wheat germ at feed stores, at bait shops. Wheat germ is the breaker. Uh, Millet doesn't do much, and flour, cup and a half of all-purpose flour is the binder. When I say binder, just explain the difference real quick. Uh, this is what will stick it together, uh, stick it together enough so that you can cast it, and then, excuse me, and uh, the breaker, as I described the wheat bran, will, when water contacts it, break down. That breakdown will break the ball that you pack together tightly apart, and you got your desired results. What I really like about millet, you know, besides the fact that it works, is when you pack millet, I guess because of the dense seeds, the density of the seeds, um, it makes a heavy ball. And so just a little bit over a golf size ball of millet breaks amazingly, and it throws like a rock. And I know a lot of everybody who makes a bait video tells you how good their stuff throws. Uh, Millet has the advantage because of the density. It really makes a heavy ball, a heavy small ball that packs, and it throws forever. I mean, I know of nothing that throws as far as millet. It holds together. And the funny part is, you don't wet it much, at very, very most, little damp hands. A lot of times you can get away with good millet made. You don't even have to use damp hands. And you don't want to use wet hands, because the one thing that will break millet apart is if you get wet hands on it, heavy wet hands, uh, that water will start working and it could break your ball apart. But aside from that, if you follow that packing video and you pack it in the center, um, flatten it, pack it, and then you can make it into a ball and let it fly. You will be happy. If you have trouble packing a bait, um, if you have trouble casting to a spot, maybe it's real far, there's some that Big Daddy 2s and Carltons, that there's some really long, really good spots, but you got to cast, you know. Um, not all long rope. You got to hit the rope. I learned the hard way last time I fished Creekside. I learned later in the game that the better fish weren't on the rope; they were halfway out. And stubborn me, I was throwing rice, and I was hitting the rope so easily. I was like, "This is great." And I had all four of my rods on the rope most of the day until I threw a few short. At first it didn't work, and then one hit it, and then I think I had four fish right away, all off the middle section, and they were all bigger than anything I caught. So uh, just a little reflection there. I think, if you see me, I'm stirring the crap out of this, because to integrate that flour is real important, and it's kind of tricky. It's being a little stubborn. I probably should have cut the camera, but why not? See, you really, really gotta stir this in. You want that flour right in the mix. That's gonna make this bait magic. It's gonna hold it together. The wheat bran, it disappeared once I put it in there, but it'll do its job. Okay, excuse me, but I got a new microphone. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. You can see my Wicketed shirt. Testing it out. Hopefully, I don't sound like I'm mumbling. I didn't like the quality of my last video. I sounded like I was mumbling, so I wanted to see if I could improve that. So I still don't think this is. I got to get my hand in there. Sometimes you got to do it. You got to get your hand in there and stir it up, because you don't want the flour to be in one big clump. You want it integrated. All right. Before I came on, I got my Karo syrup. They said this is a Karo syrup. I used 13 ounces, 14 ounces of this 16-ounce bottle, and the 2 ounces there. I don't want to sound cheap, but I am. But you make this enough along with the syrup chop. You save those last couple of ounces it adds up, and you'll have a bottle pretty soon. You know, and you might just say, well, what the hell, just throw in the full bottle. But no, it's the formula is 14, and I'll stick to that formula. What I do is I measure it in a cup. Uh, don't have to, but I love when I use syrup, I like to heat it. I heat it for about a minute. Doesn't have to be steaming hot, but it changes the properties enough that it's like water instead of like heavy syrup. Uh, its base property, and uh, that helps with the mixing. It really does. So I always heat it up. You don't have to, but I recommend it. Uh, why have it in a measuring cup? One, it heats up great and it cleans up easy. But probably the most important thing is I'm putting an ounce in. Um, ultimately, I want 14 to 15 ounces, of liquid, usually 15. So I'll put 1 ounce of syrup, or sorry, carp flavoring in, and 13 to 14 ounces of syrup. Doesn't have to be exact, but it does have to be less than 16 ounces, and then add an ounce of flavoring, and you got 17 ounces, and that's just too wet. Can you make it that way? Yeah, yeah, but just a preference. I'll point out the bucket I'm using. I think I used the same bucket when I made chow. Uh, I use a bucket like this, and it looks just like any other white bucket, except this is a 4-gallon bucket as opposed to the North Carolina 3-gallon buckets that we use over here on my right uh, for most carp baits. When I'm done, I'll probably carry this bait in the 3-gallon bucket. They fit easier in the truck. But what the 4-gallon bucket is it's a sawed off 5-gallon bucket. And why I'm using that is it gives me more mixing space at the bottom of the bucket. And we're using millet and a syrup base, same as if we'd be using syrup chow. And when I make this bait, when I pour this in, I want maximum surface area. Yeah, I don't want uh, 4 inches of the bait just laying on top of each other. Will it work if you do have a smaller bucket? Yeah, of course it will. But it's a preference, and it has worked real good for me. Off to the side here, I'm pouring in my liquid. I should have poured it in front of you, sorry. But real exciting. It's flavoring. You can use a lot or a little. I'll tell you that a lot of millet guys don't use the flavor. They make plain balls, and when they want to use a flavor, they dip it, uh, and that's cool. That works. Oh, my flavor of the day is something work. I wasn't going to show this, but uh, I show everything. Why would I be different? This is uh, this is my second bottle of White Zombie from Wicketed. Uh, we fish next to a guy from Roy's, and I wasn't using White Zombies. I was using another flavor, and I was having a good night. But he kicked our arse. He uh, he caught a bigger fish, and he caught more fish. Uh, like I said, we did all right, but when I was looking at his, I think it was like 22-pound yellow. It looked a lot bigger than that. I was like, man, I and he told me, oh, I'm using Wicketed, like you said, using White Zombie, and I was like, I didn't bring White Zombie. I had my grits made up, but I don't know if I could have quickly flipped or wanted to because I was catching fish. But it just shows this stuff works. This stuff works for me before, and you ask, well, why don't you always use it? I've got uh, I've got a room full of wicketed flavors, and I don't want to. Last year I stuck with one or two, and it worked great, but I want to try them all. The Ron over at Wicketed makes a ton of flavors. He's not the only one. I know George at Carp Slayer and Joe over at R&W. they're all making flavors. Everybody finds everybody finds a flavor. Carp fishermen will find a flavor that nobody else is using to give them an advantage. It's kind of like, why are you giving away your flavors? And it's like, because they work. I'm not saying they don't. And if you're starting from scratch, try what I'm using. I'm not making this up to promote it. I'm making it up because I know it will work and it'll catch fish. But I'm not saying other stuff won't work. Uh, of course it does. Uh, and if you find a flavor that you think you have an advantage over the field, last week I think there were 80. Yeah, uh, I used wicketed. I'm not opposed to using non-wicketed, but like I said, I've got so many flavors that have worked for me that were wicketed, and then I've got quite a few that I haven't tested yet. So, you know, why not? If this worked and I killed them, the big advantage of millet and syrup base is, like I said, I'll call it forever. I have no idea how long it will last, but it'll be it'll last all year. And I I make it, and it gives me an option. Some guy was ragging on me for using so many different flavors, but to be honest, when you have a bag of millet, forever chow, uh, and let's say they're on rice and you're throwing rice and somebody's beating you or you're not catching the fish like you want to be catching, you want to throw something different off to the side. I mean, in North Carolina, we fish with 4 rods and 5 rods. Next weekend, Saturday, it's Thursday. I'll be fishing with 5 rods where I'm fishing at Ellis. And if you got 5 rods, you've got opportunities as opposed to maybe in Georgia where you only have 3 rods out. And you want to maximize the bait and maybe maximize the bait pile. Here in North Carolina, and especially the lake I fish, um, I throw up into the shallows. There's a big long shallows, and there's a big long island. And the last thing I want to do is put 4 or 5 rods close together in in shallow water. You will you will run off the fish. They'll hit your lines, and you will it'll be a night of frustration. I, yeah, you might luck into a fish or two, but you want to maximize that opportunity. Um, throw one short, throw one to the right, throw one to the left. Do not throw them on top of each other. And like I said, if I'm fishing 5 rods, I might start off with 5 rods on rice. But if I'm not getting the opportunities on the fish, uh, or the fish are taking rice in one spot. It seems like, this will happen a lot, especially at some deep water lakes, especially some lakes the fish just conjugate. And, you'll throw the same bait, like 5 rods worth of a certain flavor of rice. And it seems like your fourth rod or your third rod, you've caught all the fish on, you know, and you don't want to crowd that spot. So you're in a predicament a little bit. So what I'll do is throw a different bait. Uh, and when you've got millet like this that you can cast a mile and it's good to go, um, it gives you an opportunity. You might use, if the lake doesn't allow it, you might use soybean bait, grits bait. Uh, but if you have syrup bait, like I said, it lasts. A lot of times, if they're taking rice and you say, I'd really like to throw grits, but I really don't want to waste, a big old batch. Some guys half batch it, but a lot of times it's just easier to grab chow or syrup chow or millet. And it gives you opportunities to try something, throw off. Oftentimes, that big old pile, you'll have them in a pile. And wild guys know this. I learned it from a wild guy. Um, he fishes that big lake in Tennessee, Del Rock, I think it's Del Rock. I'm not sure, but they know that the big fish usually lies outside of the pile. The little fish are up in there. You know, and that's the theory. I can't 100% agree with that because I don't know. But I do know that I'll be catching them, and then my short rod, I'll get the biggest fish, or my a rod way over to the left, and it's the only fish I caught all night, but it was the biggest fish. So uh, a lot of guys, there's some validity into that. I'm not going to swear to it, but I'll say it's a pretty good theory. Um, Back to my millet. Uh, as you can see, you just got to stir it, and stir it again. Uh, there's not going to be, I'm stirring in, making sure I don't have any dry spots. Uh, I'm doing more talking and not enough stirring, but and this will be boring. I'm going to stir the crap out of this. Then I'm going to put the lid on this. In about an hour after I put the lid on it, I am going to flip the bucket. Like I said, this bucket gives me uh, about, I want to say about 30% more space where the millet now and the bait that I'm stirring is exposed more. When I flip it, the theory behind that, and it's true, not a theory, is the syrup that goes down. I put it across the top, soaks down to the bottom. I flip it, it goes back. You might work that a couple of times. My partner who gave me this recipe, Tommy Vestel, is he he would take it and lay the bucket outside in the sun, and uh, flip it around a couple of times, turn it on the bucket on its side. Uh, in 2 days, this bait is ready. Well, last year when they were really pulling, I didn't have 2 days, so I went with another recommendation I saw, and is you can lay this out on wax paper. That's what I did. I think they said a cookie sheet, and I was like, they're not married, because if I laid this out on a cookie sheet, my wife would end it for me real quick. I could not get away with that. But if you get some wax paper and lay this out, I was in a real hurry. I was in a bind. I wanted one more flavor that I heard was hot, and with Simple Grape, they had just come out with it, and so um, I rolled it out, just with my hand, pat it all out on this long sheet of wax paper in my man cave bathroom, and I put a fan on it to get uh, didn't need to put the fan on it. I got up. I made it in the afternoon. I got up in the middle of the night, and it was about perfect. And I left it alone. Next morning, it was almost too dry. It was like Rice Krispies. I saved it by gathering it all up, putting it in a bucket, or a bag actually, and I put it in the microwave, got it real hot. That softened it up, and it worked out fine. Highly recommend if you need this fast to use the wax paper and just roll it out. Leave it alone. Don't put a fan on it if you don't need it in like a couple of hours. But if you do, put a fan on it. Um, it worked. It worked. You're not going to deny it. Didn't work good. Uh, it did. Uh, like I said, it's well. Right now, I didn't say it, but it's a little too soupy now. Uh, but tomorrow and the next day, by Saturday, this will be magic. I'll be able to throw it. I tell you what. Well, I hate when people say this, but this this ghost, you know, I don't know what it's really in there, but it sure smells like a grape flavor to me, and it smells awesome. Now, when they say that, and I say I hate when they say that, it doesn't mean you'll catch fish. How the heck do you know what carp like? You know, I know that some Georgia anglers, that's why they banned it, would use cow poop. So to say that they like a flavor by smell is, in my mind, crazy. But I will say it's fun to make, and it smells good for what it's worth. Um, I have it pretty mixed. Uh, I'm one of those anglers that bait makers or whatever you am, but that never satisfied. I mix the crap out of it, and you can't go wrong. You cannot over mix this. You want to make sure everything's incorporated. It is. Excuse me. I'll put the lid on it. I'll put this lid on it, give it an hour, and I'll flip the bucket. But this millet recipe, I'm not sure I've seen it exactly online like this. And I'll say it again. It's 5 cups of millet, uh, 3 cups of wheat bran, 1.5 cups of flour, and 14 to 15 ounces of syrup with your flavor, if you're using flavor, integrated in. And if you make it that way, it will work and you'll be very satisfied. You'll make the best millet that I've found. And again, you can then put it in a smaller bucket, put it in the bag, and you will have this for all summer. All summer, you'll have this in your arsenal. It won't last all summer because when they start hitting it, you'll be like, I remember they were hitting it so crazy one night when I was running out. Uh, I had dropped a ball, a test ball, uh, and, off to the side. I don't know why it ended up on the side of on the ground next to my truck, and it was 1:30. We had 30 minutes to go, and I had used the last bit, and I picked it up off the ground, made it into a ball, and threw it, and caught a fish. It'd be great if it was the winning fish. It was just a small fish, I think, but it just you know uh, if you want to try millet, if it's legal in your lake, you will be happy. You'll be very happy with this recipe. You don't need another recipe. This is all pros, no con. If you need to make it fast, roll it out on wax paper and put a fan on it, and you could get it done in probably 4 or 5 hours, um, maybe less. But I don't recommend that. Again, put it in the bucket, uh, make it a couple days in advance. I like to do that anyways because then I'm thinking about carp in the middle of a work week and carp fishing, and that's a good thing if you work a 9 to 5. So thank everybody for watching. Again, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to improve my videos. Got a microphone. Uh, Watch this. I've got a bunch of these cool internet lights, vlogger lights, and that allows me to make these videos after work. I don't have time during the work hours, so I can add light. It doesn't. I don't have to depend on the light. I don't have to get into trouble making it in my kitchen that has the best light in the house in the middle of my lunch break. So I'm trying to grow, trying to improve my quality. But I do appreciate. I think I had over 8,000 views on my videos when I was looking at it this morning, and I'm very grateful for that and happy. Uh, it's a lot of effort, but it's fun. Uh, if I can help anybody with a recipe, fishing, I really appreciate the people who watch this and they come up to me. If you watch my videos and you like them, uh, or you don't like them, come up and talk to me. I love it. People just come up and say, "I see your videos," and it wrecks me. I'm just happy as hell, and I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye now.